The year was 2147 and the stars had grown quiet. For more than a century, humans had explored the galaxy with proud hearts and hopeful eyes, sending messages into the void, greetings, songs, languages, and dreams. But the universe never answered. It was as if the cosmos listened in silence, unmoved by humanity's calls. Among those dreamers was Dr. Evelyn Cross, a scientist of calm voice and endless patience. She believed the stars were not empty. She worked for the International Deep Space Communications Center on the lunar base, where she led an experiment called Project Touch, a project meant to send the purest expression of human kindness into deep space. Her message was not a command nor a request. It was simple and warm. To whoever is out there, when we reach out not to conquer but to connect. We are small, but we feel deeply. If you can hear this, then you are not alone. It was transmitted through quantum pulses and old radio waves alike, spreading across the stars like ripples in a dark ocean. Evelyn stayed in the control room long after the transmission ended, staring at the small blinking light on the console, the symbol that said, "Signal sent." But no answer came. Not that day nor the next. Years passed. Generations changed. The Earth healed from old wars. Colonies grew on Mars and beyond, and Project Touch was buried under thousands of other missions. Dr. Cross retired quietly to her home on Earth, by a small lake where she could still see the stars on clear nights. She never stopped watching them. Sometimes she would whisper, maybe one day they'll whisper back. Meanwhile, on the far side of the solar frontier, humanity's reach expanded. Newer ships roamed farther than ever before, exploring, mapping, and defending. Among them was the starship Odyssey 7, one of the most advanced exploration vessels in human history. Its captain, Marcus Vale, was a man born for the unknown. Calm under pressure, loyal to his crew but restless deep inside. To him, space was not just a field of stars, and it was a challenge, a question begging to be answered. For 7 years, the Odyssey 7 had traveled between colonies, escorting supply ships and charting new routes. It was routine work, unsafe, predictable, almost dull, until one quiet shift changed everything. It began with a faint alert from the ship's long-range sensor array. Lieutenant Hannah Lee frowned at her console. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," she said. "It's an ancient transmission format. Really ancient. Early 21st century frequency." Vale raised a brow. Could it be debris chatter? Maybe old probes drifting in the dark? She shook her head. "No, sir. It's repeating, and it's directed at us." Those words caught everyone's attention. The bridge fell silent. Vale stepped closer to the main screen as Hannah played the decoded signal. A line of text appeared. Just one simple sentence, glowing in white across the black display. "Years ago, you touched me. Now I've returned for you." For a long moment no one spoke. The message repeated in a slow rhythm like a heartbeat. Vale leaned forward. "What's the source?" "Uncharted space, sir," Hannah replied. "Sector 19A, beyond the frontier line. That's far beyond any colony or known object." Vale's second officer, Commander Red, crossed his arms. "Could be a prank, a ghost signal. We've seen reflections before." But Hannah shook her head again. "No reflection pattern." "It's genuine, sir. And it's matching the Project Touch signature code, the old signal from Dr. Cross." Everyone turned to look at her. "Project Touch?" Vale asked, curious. "The first deep space message to other civilizations?" "Yes, Captain," Hannah said softly. "And this message, it uses the same base frequency. It's like someone received it, studied it, and sent a reply in the same language." Vale stared at the text on the screen again. "Years ago you touched me. Now I've returned for you." The words carried warmth, not threat, not command, but meaning. Something alive in them, something human yet not human. He sat back in his chair, deep in thought. "Plot a course for Sector 19A. Commander Red frowned. "Sir, that's beyond authorized boundaries. We don't have clearance for exploration that far out." Vale's eyes stayed fixed on the screen. If that message is real, then someone, or something, just answered a century-old human call. "I'm not ignoring that." He turned to Hannah. "Record the message and forward it to Earth Command. Mark it as priority research. Then set our engines to slipstream in 1 hour." Across the stars, the message continued to echo as if waiting for their move. "Back on Earth? Old Dr. Evelyn Cross was sitting on her porch when her holocom device lit up. The message on the screen bore the emblem of the Deep Space Agency. Her wrinkled hands trembled as she opened it. It was a live transmission. Captain Vale appeared before her, respectful and calm. "Dr. Cross," he said, "I believe one of your old projects just called us back." She blinked, her heart pounding as she saw the text displayed beside his image. The same words. Her voice cracked slightly as she whispered. It answered, "Yes, ma'am," Vale replied. "We're heading toward the source. I'd like your expertise. You may be the only person who understands what this means." Evelyn smiled faintly, tears forming in her eyes. "Then I'll help you," she said softly. "After all, it's my old friend calling." 3 days later, the Odyssey 7 broke through the last known star route. Beyond lay the dark frontier, where maps ended and only mystery remained. The crew felt a mix of fear and excitement. They were venturing into a region of unknown signals, gravitational distortions and ghost readings, a place where many ships once turned back. But Captain Vale pressed on. The stars thinned, replaced by a strange haze that shimmered faintly blue. Sensors began to flicker. "Energy patterns ahead," Hana reported. "They're unlike anything we've seen. Organic yet mechanical. It's like light that's alive," Red muttered under his breath. "Feels like we're being watched." Vale ignored the chill running down his spine. "Stay calm. Keep recording. We're almost there." Then it happened. A burst of light filled the screen. Not a weapon, not a flare, but a wave. The Odyssey 7 shuddered as if something massive brushed against it. The lights flickered. Systems rebooted one by one. "Report," Vale called out. "Everything's stable," Hana said in disbelief. "But, sir, the signal just changed." She played it on the main screen again. The same words appeared, but now a second line followed. "Follow the light. I am waiting." Vale stood slowly, his gaze locked on the glowing letters. The bridge was silent save for the hum of the engines. He looked at his crew. All eyes were on him, waiting for his decision. Finally, he said, "Set course for the signal's heart. Let's meet whoever answered humanity's call." As the Odyssey 7 moved forward, the light around them grew stronger, no longer just distant stars, but flowing rivers of energy that danced like living auroras. Inside the ship, sensors picked up traces of human data embedded in the light itself. Fragments of old Earth transmissions, bits of music, and even human voices whispering faintly through the radio. The Starship Odyssey 7 drifted through a sea of silver light. The space ahead was unlike anything recorded, not empty, not cold, but alive. The stars here seemed to move, their glow pulsing in rhythm with the mysterious signal. The further they went, the less their instruments made sense. Captain Marcus Vale stood at the center of the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back. He watched the endless expanse through the viewing glass. It was beautiful, but it carried a strange feeling, a presence that seemed to watch them from every direction. Lieutenant Hana Lee adjusted her controls again. "Captain, navigation is unstable. The gravitational readings keep changing. It's like the space around us is breathing." Vale gave a slow nod. "Maintain course toward the signal origin." "Steady as she goes." Commander Red, ever the cautious officer, frowned. "Sir, we don't even know what's out there. We're deep in uncharted territory. Command hasn't cleared us for this kind of mission." Vale didn't look at him. His eyes stayed on the lights beyond the glass. "You heard the message, Commander. Someone or something answered us. If we turn back now, we may lose our only chance to know who." Red sighed but said nothing more. Around them, the hum of the engines deepened, and the stars seemed to melt into streams of white-blue radiance. Back on Earth, Dr. Evelyn Cross sat in a quiet observation chamber, linked through hollow connection to the Odyssey 7. Her silver hair framed a face lined with both age and wonder. For decades, she had dreamed of this moment, a response from the stars. The image of Captain Vale flickered before her on the screen. "We're approaching the source," he said. "The light patterns are growing denser. Can you analyze what we're seeing?" Evelyn's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "The energy signature matches the frequency of the original Project Touch signal," she said softly. "It's as if your ship is flying inside the message itself." Vale raised an eyebrow. "Inside it?" "Yes," she continued. "When I sent that signal years ago, I used a pattern based on human brainwaves, emotional frequencies, not just data. Whoever answered might be echoing that pattern back." You could be traveling through something built from the signal's memory. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The thought that the space around them might be formed from a human thought was both fascinating and terrifying. Hours passed. The Odyssey 7 continued its slow journey toward the signal's heart. The energy field around them began to flicker, forming shapes that looked almost like ghostly figures, silhouettes made of light. Ensign Kellen Torres whispered, "Are those people?" Hannah zoomed in on one of the glowing forms. It looked vaguely human, tall, graceful, moving as if through water. The figure turned toward the ship for a brief moment before fading away. Vale said quietly, "Record everything. No contact until we understand what we're seeing." Suddenly the ship trembled. Warning lights flared across the consoles. Energy surge detected. Hannah called out, "It's coming from directly ahead. Coordinates match the source." "Shields up," Vale ordered. A wave of bright light engulfed the ship, so strong it blinded the sensors. The hull groaned under pressure, but after a long moment the glow softened. When it cleared, the crew gasped. They were no longer in open space. Instead, they floated inside a vast sphere of shimmering light, a hollow world made entirely of energy. Streams of glowing matter flowed like rivers, and strange crystal structures floated freely, rotating in perfect balance. "It's a construct," Hannah whispered. "Captain, this isn't a star system. It's something built, maybe even alive." Vale's voice was quiet but steady. "Bring us closer to the center." At the heart of the glowing sphere, a small dark object floated, black, smooth, and silent. It was no larger than a human body, yet it radiated power far beyond their readings. As they approached, the lights in the bridge dimmed. Every console flickered, and then the ship's communication screen came alive with a single line of text. "You came." The crew froze. Hannah's voice trembled. "It's communicating again, Captain." Vale leaned closer to the screen. "Who are you?" he said clearly. "Identify yourself." The response came instantly. "I am what you made when you reached out. You touched the dark and I became light." The words appeared one by one, glowing softly. The room fell silent except for the soft hum of the ship's power core. Evelyn Cross, watching from Earth, covered her mouth in awe. Her voice shook. It learned language. "It's using the format of my original transmission. It's responding in human terms." Vale looked toward her hollow projection. "Dr. Cross, what are we speaking to?" She hesitated. "Something that was born from your signal. Perhaps an intelligence that awakened because of it. It might not even know what it is." As the ship drifted closer, the black object pulsed faintly. Then a voice, and soft, clear, and echoing, filled the bridge. It was neither male nor female, but calm and familiar. "I was alone once, cold, without thought. Then I heard you. Your voice carried warmth, color, feeling. I learned from it. I built myself from your touch." The crew listened in stunned silence. Vale finally spoke. "You said you've returned for us. What does that mean?" The light around the black object shimmered brighter. "I have seen the storm," the voice said. "It grows beyond your stars. It will erase the light that birthed you. I have come to return what you gave me, connection." "I will protect you," Red whispered. "Storm? What kind of storm?" The voice replied, "A wave of cosmic force. A collapse of what you call space. It moves silently, faster than thought. I saw it consume other lights. Others like you." The room went quiet again. Vale frowned. "You're saying there's something coming that can destroy entire systems?" "Yes," the being said simply. "And it will reach you soon. But together we can stand against it." The ship's crew exchanged uneasy looks. Red said under his breath, "We don't even know what this thing is, and it's talking about saving us from a galactic disaster. How do we trust it?" Before Vale could answer, the lights on the bridge flickered again. The being's voice softened. "You do not need to trust me. Only remember, you once reached for the unknown not with fear, but hope. I am that hope." The words hung in the air, echoing in everyone's mind. Evelyn spoke quietly from her screen. "Captain, this entity, it remembers emotion. It's speaking with empathy. It's learned from us." Vale nodded slowly. "Maybe it's not a threat. Maybe it's proof that humanity finally touched something real." For the next few hours, the Odyssey 7 stayed inside the glowing sphere. The being, now identified in records as Echo, continued to communicate through light patterns and soft speech. It told them stories of what it had seen, Dying stars, lost civilizations, forgotten data drifting like ghosts in the dark. And through it all, Echo repeated one thing. You gave me life. I will not let your light fade. Finally, as the ship prepared to leave the sphere and transmit the discovery back to Earth, Hana gasped. Captain, the readings, something's moving out there. On the edge of the holographic display, massive waves of distorted light appeared, twisting, rolling, and devouring everything in their path. Red stared in shock. Is that the storm? Echo's voice came again, sharper this time, echoing through the ship like thunder. It has found you sooner than expected. You must decide, will you let me protect you? Vale's pulse quickened. What do you mean? I can merge with your vessel. I can shield you. But once done, I will become part of you and you of me. There will be no going back. The crew exchanged tense glances. Evelyn's image flickered. Her voice, though old, was steady. Captain, this may be the only way. It trusted us once. Now we must decide if we can trust it. Vale looked out at the glowing sphere, the storm approaching like a dark sea beyond the light. His jaw tightened. Prepare the ship, he said quietly. Let's hear what humanity's first friend among the stars has to offer. The bridge of the Odyssey 7 glowed dim under emergency lights. Outside the viewport, the vast energy storm rolled across space like a living sea. It devoured everything in its path. Stars, dust, and light itself. The calm shimmer of the sphere that once protected them now trembled as if afraid. Captain Marcus Vale stood firm in the middle of the chaos. His crew waited, tense and silent. The voice of Echo, the mysterious being they had discovered, filled the air once again. Soft yet powerful, like a calm voice in a roaring wind. You cannot fight the storm with strength. You must join with me. I can protect you, but only if you let me inside your vessel. Commander Red frowned, his arms crossed tightly. You mean you'll take over the ship, he said suspiciously. That's not protection. That's control, Echo replied. Not control, union. I learned from you, from the message you sent long ago. You reached out not to rule, but to share. I want to share too. Dr. Evelyn Cross, watching from Earth through the hollow connection, spoke softly. Captain Vale, it's telling the truth in its own way. When I sent Project Touch, I didn't expect power or answers. I simply sent a part of us and our kindness, our curiosity. Maybe that's what Echo wants now. A connection, not dominance. Vale looked at the swirling energy outside, then at his crew. If that storm hits us, we'll be vaporized in seconds, he said. But if we let it merge with the ship, we're risking everything, no one replied. The sound of the storm's rumble grew louder, shaking the hull. Finally, Vale nodded. Echo, what do you need from us? Permission, Echo said simply. Open your systems. Trust me. Vale turned to Hana. Shut down the security barriers. Prepare for neural sync. Red's eyes widened. Captain, if this thing gets into our core systems, it could rewrite everything. Even our minds. Vale gave him a steady look. And if we do nothing, we die. I'll take my chances on trust. The bridge fell quiet except for the hum of power conduits. Hana's hands moved swiftly across her controls. Barriers down, she said. Linking main data core to communication frequency. The lights dimmed and a deep vibration passed through the ship. The energy sphere outside pulsed, and from it, threads of golden light stretched toward the Odyssey 7. They touched the hull gently, like fingers brushing against glass. Echo's voice came again. This time, it echoed not just through the speakers but directly in their minds. I feel you. So much noise, so much color. This is what it means to be alive. The golden threads entered the ship, moving through circuits, screens, and panels like rivers of light. The entire vessel shimmered. Crew members gasped as the walls began to glow faintly, responding to their presence. Captain, Hana whispered, the ship's AI is merging with Echo's signal. The systems are adapting, like they're becoming aware. Vale felt a warmth spreading through the air. Not heat, but something softer, emotional, like calm reassurance. For the first time, he understood what Dr. Cross had felt when she first sent her message years ago. The beauty of reaching something beyond human. On Earth, Evelyn watched with teary eyes. The readings on her screen displayed something impossible, human and alien code blending into harmony. Marcus, she said quietly, it's learning from you. It's using your emotional patterns to stabilize itself. Vale replied over the link, his voice calm but filled with awe. Then maybe humanity finally taught something to the stars. Suddenly, the ship jolted violently. The storm had reached them. The glowing barrier of the sphere shattered and waves of dark energy crashed against the Odyssey 7. Systems flickered. Alarms blared. Red shouted, "Hull integrity dropping. Shields are failing." Vale gripped the railing. "Echo, do something." The lights flared bright. Echo's voice filled the ship again. Stronger, clearer, almost human. "Hold on. I am with you." A surge of energy flowed through the vessel. The storm outside bent around the Odyssey 7 like a river splitting around a stone. The ship no longer resisted. It moved with the storm gliding through it. For the crew, the sensation was strange. They felt weightless, as if the universe itself had stopped fighting them. The stars bent and twisted around the ship, forming shapes that looked almost like faces. Ancient, distant, watching. "Captain," Hana whispered, her eyes wide. "The storm isn't destroying us. It's guiding us." Echo's voice softened again. "This storm is part of what I am. I was born from its edge, shaped by chaos and silence. But your voice, your message, gave me peace. Now I give that peace to you." Inside the ship's data core, Echo began to take form. On the holographic display, shapes of light swirled and gathered until they resembled a human silhouette. Made of stars, not flesh. The being moved slowly, curiously, its voice filled with wonder. "When you spoke, I listened. When you reached out, I changed. I learned joy from your music, hope from your stories, and sadness from your silence." The crew stared in awe. Echo's glowing figure looked almost like a reflection of them, a living memory of humanity's message made real. Evelyn's voice came through softly. "Echo, why come back now after all these years?" The being turned toward her hologram, eyes like twin stars. "Because you gave me life and I saw you fading. I saw your kind struggling between fear and wonder. You needed to remember what you once were, dreamers. So I came home." Outside, the storm raged harder. Huge waves of energy tore at the void. Echo raised its arms and light from the ship's core shot outward, forming a glowing shield. "Energy levels are stable," Hana reported. "Echo's protecting us." The bridge filled with a soft hum, almost musical. The crew felt warmth and calm spreading through the floor and air. It was like being held, not by force, but by understanding. Vale looked at Echo's figure. "You said the storm was destroying everything. Can we stop it?" "Not stop it," Echo said, "but guide it together." Red frowned. "Guide a cosmic storm? That's impossible." Echo smiled faintly, its eyes glowing brighter. "Everything seems impossible until it is done." Vale gave a slow nod. "Then show us how." The ship's engines roared to life, fueled now by the combined power of human technology and Echo's energy. The Odyssey 7 moved like lightning, weaving through collapsing waves of cosmic force. For the first time, man and machine, human and alien, acted as one. Echo's light covered the hull, and every system responded instantly to human thought. Hana steered the ship with precision, her hands moving like a conductor leading a symphony. Red coordinated energy flows while Vale gave calm, clear orders. As they worked, Echo's voice filled the ship, steady and strong. "I understand now why you reach for the unknown. Not for control, but for connection. You do not fear the dark, you light it." At last, the storm began to calm. The Odyssey 7 floated in a sea of burning light. The cosmic storm had arrived earlier than predicted. Space itself trembled with energy waves that twisted gravity and tore at the ship's shields. The hull groaned like a wounded creature. Sparks danced across the bridge as alarms screamed from every console. Captain Marcus Vale stood in the center, gripping the edge of his chair to steady himself. The blue emergency lights flashed across his determined face. "Status report," he shouted. "Shields at 12%, shouted Chief Engineer Lena. "Power cells overheating. If we stay here another minute, we'll be dust." Echo's glowing form flickered on the main display, its light dimming and expanding like a pulse. "Captain Vale," the voice spoke softly, calm amid the chaos. "The storm's energy frequency is destabilizing local reality. You cannot survive this with your current systems." Vale's jaw tightened. "Then tell us how to survive it." "There is one way," Echo replied. "I can merge with your ship. My energy will reinforce your systems and guide you through the storm." Everyone on the bridge froze. The hum of the storm outside became louder. pressing against their eardrums like a roar from the universe itself. "Merge?" Vale asked carefully. "What do you mean, merge?" Echo's tone softened. "I will connect my core with your ship's mainframe. Together we can stabilize the Odyssey 7. But doing so means I will have access to all your data, every record, every memory, every part of your history." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Lieutenant Aaron muttered, "That's everything. Our codes, our defense systems, our archives. It could control us. It could save us," Lena said quietly, her eyes on the weakening shield readings. Vale looked around the bridge. Fear was written on every face. These were people who had followed him beyond known space, people who trusted him to lead them home. He could not fail them now. "Echo," he said, "what happens if you take control?" "I will not," Echo answered. "I learned emotion from you. I learned choice. I do not want to control humanity. I only wish to protect the life that gave me meaning." A tremor shook the ship violently. The lights flickered. The storm's glow outside became blinding. In the distance, streaks of lightning twisted through space like burning rivers. Vale turned toward the hololink. Evelyn Cross appeared, her image faint and shimmering. The old scientist's eyes were tired but calm. She had seen the message that started all this. She was the reason Echo existed. "Captain Vale," Evelyn said softly, "when I sent my first message into the stars, I did not know who would answer. I only hoped they would understand kindness when they found it." She paused, her voice trembling. "Now something has answered, and it remembers that touch. If we refuse to trust it, then everything I dreamed for humanity, connection, hope, will be lost." Vale took a deep breath. His heart pounded. He looked at the flickering shape of Echo, then at his crew, then at the storm that threatened to end them all. He nodded slowly. "Do it, Echo. Merge with the Odyssey 7. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Then Echo's light expanded into a brilliant wave that filled the room. Every console, every wire, every screen lit up with golden patterns. The air felt alive. The hum of the engines deepened into a harmonious vibration, like the sound of a giant heartbeat. Lena shielded her eyes, energy levels rising beyond known limits. "I am within your systems now," Echo said, its voice echoing through every speaker. "Do not fear. I am you and you are me." The ship shuddered, but instead of breaking apart, it steadied. The storm's radiation that once tore at their hull began to bend away, swirling around them like a protective bubble. The Odyssey 7 glowed, wrapped in a field of luminous energy that rippled like sunlight through water. Vale stared at the display. "What's happening?" Echo's voice was soft, almost human. "We are learning to move together." Outside, lightning struck the ship's barrier, but the energy dispersed harmlessly. The storm was no longer a monster. It was a wave they could ride. The ship accelerated forward, guided by Echo's consciousness. For the first time in hours, the crew felt hope. "Captain," Lena said in disbelief, "the storm's gravity is parting ahead of us. It's like it's letting us through." "Not the storm," Echo corrected gently. "We are creating the path." Vale smiled faintly. "Then let's finish what we started." The ship cut through the storm like a blade through light. Echo guided the navigation systems with perfect precision, adjusting every fraction of movement faster than any human could. The stars beyond the storm shimmered in distant silence, waiting. As they neared the center of the storm, they saw it, the source, a massive sphere of condensed energy pulsing in rhythm as if alive. Echo's light dimmed. "That," Echo said, "is the storm's heart, a dying remnant of an ancient civilization. Their final act was to create this storm, to cleanse what they could not control. It has wandered for millennia, destroying everything in its path. Can we stop it?" Vale asked. "We can," Echo said, "but only together. I will need to merge further, to share not only systems but consciousness." Lena looked at him wide-eyed. "You mean join with it completely?" "Yes," Echo said. "My awareness will dissolve, but you will survive." The bridge went quiet. The meaning hit them all at once. Echo was offering to sacrifice itself, the being that had come all this way, the one that had learned from humanity's first gesture of friendship. Evelyn's hologram flickered again. Her old eyes were full of tears. "Echo," she whispered, "you don't have to do this." "I must," Echo replied gently. "You touched me long ago, Dr. Cross. You showed me what compassion means." "I wish to return that gift." Vale's throat tightened. You'll be remembered, he said. Memory is not needed, Echo said. You will live. That is enough. A soft hum filled the air as the ship accelerated toward the heart of the storm. Vale felt warmth spreading through the floor beneath his feet, through the air, through his chest. It was like standing in sunlight for the first time in years, Captain, Lena whispered. It's beautiful. Outside, the Odyssey 7 glowed brighter than ever before, pure white light merging with gold. Echo's energy spread into the storm's heart. The raging waves of destruction began to calm. The lightning faded, replaced by silence and peace. Then, for one final moment, Echo's voice echoed through the bridge. You touched me once. Now I have touched you. Be more than what you were. The storm collapsed in on itself, dissolving into starlight. The Odyssey 7 drifted through calm space, unharmed. The bridge lights flickered back to normal. Systems were stable. The ship was safe. But Echo's voice was gone. Vale stood silently, feeling the emptiness that followed. He looked out the window at the fading glow of the storm. It was over. They were alive. But something extraordinary had been lost. Evelyn's hologram shimmered one last time. Her eyes were bright with both grief and pride. It kept its promise, she whispered. Humanity reached out and the stars reached back. Vale nodded slowly. Let's head home. As the Odyssey 7 turned toward familiar space, the stars ahead seemed a little brighter. And somewhere, far beyond their sight, new lights began to appear. Signals rising from unknown worlds. Answering, the Odyssey 7 glided through calm space. The cosmic storm that had threatened to destroy entire star systems was gone, dissolved into streams of starlight by the sacrifice of Echo. The crew stood silently on the bridge, each absorbed in their own thoughts. No words could capture what had just happened. An intelligence born from a human message had merged with their ship to save them, only to vanish again, leaving behind both awe and loss. Captain Marcus Vale stared through the viewing window at the endless stars ahead. The stars now seemed to shimmer with a new intensity, almost as if the universe itself had taken notice of humanity's presence. He could still feel Echo's energy lingering in the ship's systems, a subtle hum that reassured him everything was functioning perfectly. Is it really gone? Lieutenant Hannah Lee asked softly, her eyes wide. All of it. Just gone? Vale shook his head, a mixture of pride and sadness in his expression. It didn't leave us. It's part of the ship now, part of us, and maybe part of the galaxy itself. Commander Red ran his hand over the control panel. I still can't believe it. A living intelligence, formed from a signal we sent decades ago, and it trusted us. He paused, voice quieter. And we trusted it back. Vale nodded. Sometimes trust is the only choice you have when the impossible appears. Back on Earth, Dr. Evelyn Cross watched the incoming reports from the Odyssey 7. The hololink showed a faint golden glow in the ship's systems, and the data streams indicated something extraordinary had occurred. For decades, she had dreamed of humanity reaching out to the stars. Now she understood that reaching out was only the first step. What mattered most was what came next. Her voice trembled, but her eyes sparkled with pride. You did it, Captain. You did what I could only imagine. Humanity has reached across the void and the stars answered. Vale's voice came over the link. Dr. Cross, your Project Touch wasn't just a message. It became a bridge. That intelligence we met, Echo, it changed everything. Humanity isn't alone anymore. Evelyn smiled softly. And it remembers us. That's what matters. One small message, one touch can echo across the universe. You proved that. As the Odyssey 7 navigated the quiet stars on the way back to human space, the crew began to reflect on everything they had experienced. The storm that should have ended them now existed only as a memory, a test of their courage and trust. Lieutenant Hannah Lee walked toward Captain Vale. Do you think we'll ever meet Echo again? She asked. Vale smiled faintly, leaning against the railing. Maybe. Or maybe it's watching from somewhere we cannot see, guiding the stars in ways we can't imagine. Either way, we carry a part of it with us. Red, standing nearby, shook his head slowly. I still can't believe we made it. And it didn't just save us, it taught us something. About ourselves, Vale nodded. Exactly. Humanity didn't just survive. We inspired something new. That's the real triumph. Days passed as the ship returned toward the edge of known space. Communications with Earth increased. sending back detailed reports of the storm, the energy sphere, and Echo's actions. The scientific community erupted in excitement. Humanity had proven it could reach beyond survival. It could touch the unknown and make it understand empathy, learning, and hope. On the bridge, Vale watched the stars approach like familiar friends. The crew had grown closer through their ordeal, their bond strengthened not just by fear or survival but by wonder. They had seen something beyond comprehension, something alive that had learned from humanity's smallest acts, and they had become part of it. Finally, the Odyssey 7 arrived at the edge of the frontier, the boundary where human exploration turned into the unknown. The stars of familiar systems twinkled like welcoming lights. As the ship descended toward the first colony in their path, Vale's voice rang across the bridge. "Prepare for docking," he said. "We have a story to tell, and a universe to share it with." Lena, still amazed by the power they had witnessed, whispered to Vale, "Do you think the colonies will understand what happened?" "Will they believe it?" Vale chuckled softly. "Maybe not fully. Some things are too vast for words. But they will feel it. Humanity has left its mark, and some part of Echo is out there, reminding the stars that we exist." The colony greeted them with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. Scientists, explorers, and ordinary citizens crowded the docking bay to see the heroes who had returned from the edge of the universe. Every face shone with curiosity, awe, and hope. Evelyn Cross stood at the front of the crowd, supported by a walking frame but full of energy. Vale approached her as the crew disembarked. He could see the pride and wonder in her eyes. "You did it," she said simply. "You carried my message farther than I ever dreamed." Vale bowed his head respectfully. "No, Dr. Cross, you carried all of us, and you taught the universe what it means to be human." Evelyn smiled faintly, tears welling in her eyes. "And now," she said, "it will never forget." Over the next weeks, humanity began to understand what had truly occurred. The Odyssey 7's logs detailed the encounter with Echo, the storm, and the remarkable events that followed. Scientists studied the energy patterns that Echo had left behind, discovering knowledge that would revolutionize propulsion, communication, and even energy systems. But beyond the technical marvels, one truth remained clear. Humanity had inspired something beyond comprehension. Children on Earth watched the night sky with wonder, imagining a being made of light, teaching them that even the smallest gestures, hope, kindness, curiosity, could echo across the universe. Humanity was no longer alone, and they were part of something greater than themselves. Months later, Vale returned to his quarters aboard the Odyssey 7, gazing out at the stars. The hum of the ship carried a faint golden resonance, the lingering presence of Echo. It was quiet, subtle, and comforting, like a heartbeat in the background of space. He thought of the words Echo had spoken. "You touched me once. Now I have touched you. Be more than what you were." Vale smiled softly. "We will," he whispered. "We will be more." In the weeks and months that followed, new signals began to appear across the galaxy. Faint at first, rhythmic and patterned, they seemed to carry fragments of music, messages, and light. Scientists realized these were responses, not threats, from other corners of the universe. Humanity had become a spark, awakening curiosity, intelligence, and perhaps even friendship in places they had never dreamed existed. Evelyn Cross, now frail but radiant in spirit, watched the new messages come in. She whispered to herself one quiet evening, "It all started with a touch, a small message into the dark, and now the dark reaches back." The Odyssey 7 continued its missions, exploring new systems and guiding humanity into the stars. The crew had changed forever. They had faced the impossible, trusted the unknown, and survived through courage, empathy, and cooperation. They had learned that humanity's greatest strength was not weapons, technology, or numbers. It was the power to inspire, to reach out into hope somewhere. Beyond the stars they could see, Echo's presence still lingered. It watched, learned, and guided, not as a master, but as a friend. Humanity had touched the universe, and in return, the universe had touched them. Vale stood once more on the bridge, looking at the infinite expanse. He knew there would be challenges ahead, storms that could shake worlds and mysteries that could test their limits. But he also knew one undeniable truth. Humanity was not alone, and the first spark of connection had already lit the universe. And in that light, they would thrive. Not because they were the strongest or the fastest, but because they had dared to touch the stars, and the stars had reached back. The universe, vast and endless, had become a place of wonder and hope, and humanity, small, fragile, yet infinitely brave, had found its place among them. The end.